Peace, guys. I'm sitting here trying to finish up these awards, and I don't know. I just be having downloads, and it's to the point, man, where like if I keep the downloads to myself, they just get like louder and louder in my head, like, and they get to the point that where like I'll just sit in a room by myself and start talking to myself and stuff like that, because it's the only way I can get it out. But like I've been having like a lot of downloads, especially ever since I started doing juju music. Just like the person I turn into when I'm doing that song, like you'll hear my voice shaking and stuff like that. A lot of times it's because my voice is shaking. It's like a period of time in there where like I'm trying to like stay in control of what's coming out of my mouth and how it's coming out, because like I like control. I'm a Virgo, so it's like I gotta go, like everything has to be in my hand, and my hand has to be like this at all times. And when it feels like something is getting bigger than my grip, it's just like, and that's what it be feeling like when it comes to my energy in those moments when I'm doing juju music. And then you'll hear my voice shaking, and it's because like the energy is so big, like it's getting bigger than my grip. And then just like anything come out, everything pour out, whatever spirit be wanting y'all to feel, or whatever spirit be wanting y'all to hear, it comes out. It pours out of me. And just like lately, I just, ever since I started like really seriously engaging in juju music, and even before then, like I've always been a very spiritual individual. Like even when I was a child, like I can't see that well. I can see, but not that well. But I can hear and I can feel energies. And when people died, it never felt like they was dead. Like I could still hear my grandma. I still hear my grandpa sometimes, which gets weird because I try not to hear him that much because he used to molest me when I was like 4 or 5, so it's not cool when I hear him. But like I still hear him sometimes. Like I can hear people's voices, and sometimes they make me remember things, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they implant new memories in my mind. Maybe it was like one of their memories from their life, or a memory of mine they want me to remember, or something like that. Like, and it comes to me in different ways. Like I can tell like an intrusive thought or a regular something from something that spirit's coming. It's just like I guess that's the God in me. When you let God into your heart, you're able to decipher between the two and stay grounded between the one. And so like I don't know, just I'm giving like this big ass introduction to my downloads because I be so embarrassed. First of all, I be embarrassed doing lives on the internet because I grew up in a generation where it was like, get off your computer, get off your phone, get off these things. You're not supposed to be on these things. You're not supposed to be making videos like that. Like you're crying for attention. You're and that's not where I be coming from. But it's just like my mind automatically be thinking about those things. I be like worried and stuff like that. And that's what make me get embarrassed easily. I get embarrassed very easily. But I just really been having like downloads about our electromagnetic energy and like the different ways we've been like mistreating our electromagnetic energy. And I use the word electromagnetic energy instead of saying spirit or whatever other words, because I feel like by utilizing this word I am removing away any type of emotional attachment you had. Because when you get into like the netters and you learn about like emotional intelligence, stuff like that, you learn about the importance of knowing when to turn off your emotions. And because aboriginals, indigenous people have been emotionally invoked for so many centuries, we are just heightened emotional people, like all the time, like from birth. Like we come into this world just like lungs super strong, everything on 1,000, like our emotions be on 1,000 from the rip, and we just stay like that at all times, like always wishing a nigga would. Hopeless romantic, super sexual, super creative, super athletic, determined, competitive, factual, confrontational. Like everything we do it on a super level. And a lot of that super level has to do with the fact that we are very emotional beings, because for centuries our emotions have been manipulated, and they've been manipulated because there's power in our emotional invocation. But when we're using it all the time and we're always at 1,000, it does, after a while, once like it stops being an exercise to the muscle, after a while it becomes more of a deterioration to the muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first when you start using your knees and stuff like that, yeah, you building muscle, you getting it. But when you start overusing it, you start deteriorating, right? So that's basically what this is. It's like an overuse of our emotions, always being emotionally invoked through, if it's not your regular life that's emotionally invoking you, like you going out into your neighborhood and seeing that it's always being policed, and knowing that the police give us PTSD, whether it's us in trouble or we're watching someone else get in trouble, or whatever, or they just patrolling, just driving through the neighborhood. It brings an emotional invocation to us. And in addition to that, it's like our bills in our neighborhood. We've been living in redline cities for decades. So to say that these landlords, governments, etc., don't know the income ratio to the expenses or the cost of living ratio in your neighborhood is false. It's so false. When you're running for offices and places, especially when you're a council person, you're actually supposed to know these things. This is things that you know when you're trying to know and learn, when you're trying to market to these people so that you can get their votes. So if these are things that you're supposed to know when you're marketing to these people to get their votes, then this is still knowledge that you hold when you're turning a blind eye to the rental fees and the cost of living fees and etc. in that municipality. But that's also our responsibility too, because if you're going to live in these cities, you have to learn who your city people are. You have to learn who your council person is, your mayor, etc., so you can get them to do the things that they're supposed to do. But in the event that they do not, as I said, because we live in these areas and we have not been proactive in these areas in our life, it does hold a very strong emotional invocation on us. And that emotional invocation has like a lot on us. Like, we're always tired, you're always upset. You feel it more so when you're in your house, in your home, as like when you're in the middle of your floor. That's probably like the only space that you're probably getting any type of energetic flow. But like, a lot of us, we like to move our furniture to the corners and the walls of the room, right? A lot of us don't live in round houses or circular rooms and circular floor plans and circular buildings. A lot of us live in squares. We live in boxes. The energy flow up against the wall and on the corners of y'all walls, there's no energy flow there. That's where the stagnant energy is. And that's usually where we put our furniture. That's usually where your desk goes, your computer, your couch, your bed. We usually put those things in the corners of our room where there's no energy flow. And those are the places where we sit, where we rest, where we read, where we study, where we talk on the phone, where we watch television, we sit on our phones and stuff like that. Like, we do all those things in these spaces in the corners of our room. Like, my bed is in the middle of my floor for obvious reasons, and in the stagnant areas of my room, I keep crystal grids to cleanse out those stagnant energy areas in my room. And I've had people, when they move into new places, they'll call me before they move their belongings into the house, because I'll come in, I'll sage their house, I'll spray, I'll pray, I'll do everything I need to do, and then I make crystal grids in their homes, because I know we live in boxes. So there's a way you can go about creating like a certain type of grid situation in your home to like help keep the energy that gets stuck in those corners out of the corners of your house. And this is how you learn how to adapt to the areas that we're in. But I'm no longer in the mindset of adapting anymore. I'm ready to remove myself, because it's getting to the point now where it seems like it's like a really, really big war on your energy. And it's a lot to keep up with. It's always something different every day. Like, having intellectual conversations and then turning around, because I love the intellectual conversations I have with y'all, because it influences me to go do my own research and elaborate on those conversations, and I have done so. And initially, my initial set of knowledge was the fact that Burlington City, there's a lot of spiritual grounds here that this city was built on, and that's why certain areas of the city they won't touch. They won't even build new buildings on top of it, because they know those are spiritual grounds. And they have certain things. Now, certain old buildings, I was in a recent old building that still had a prison in the basement of the house, And these are houses that they're still selling. We still got a lot of houses out here like that have like basements set up, that have basements set up for like slaves and prisoners and stuff in the houses here. And when you learn about like what a lot of this stuff is built on top of, is built on the top a lot of our graves, our ancestors' graves, our spiritual grounds. That's where these major cities are built on top of. And it's always the major cities. I want you to research that. Like, don't just take my word for it. Research it. Look up all the major cities in your area, and then look up the history of them. More than likely, like, the municipal buildings are built on top of spiritual grounds, because they strategically place their municipal buildings on top of where we would pray at, or where our municipal buildings used to be at, or where we used to bury our people. In addition to that, the electric, I keep telling people, y'all gotta stop paying PSE&G, whatever your utility company is. You have to stop paying them, because I know we like to keep our lights on and our stuff like that, but we have alternatives. There is an alternative power source. You can learn how to make, solar panels. I would like to start. I do have a few brothers that know how to make solar panels, and I'm only providing things if y'all want it. I'm not about to over exude myself, because I have my own children that need me, and I have people that actually come to me because they know they need me. I'm not here to preach to people that don't think they need me. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer there. In my early 20s, my whole 19, 20 years, y'all could have had me, because I was out here yelling at people, fucking blowhorn. I'm throwing marches, protests. I was out there. I ain't there no more. I'm not doing none of that no more. If you want me, I am here for you. But if you don't. But in that conversation, I am saying that if you are interested in having an alternative power source, I do have and know of individuals who do know how to create solar, hydro, power, like plugs, sockets that you can plug into or put your things on top of and stuff like that. And it's also a mindset that you have to have as well. Yes, you need to be exchanging electricity with the plants and the foliage. And that's why, like, you're in New York. New York has the craziest. When you go to New York, when I get off the train, it feels like I walked into a whole nother, like, atmosphere. Like, the lights look different. The buildings look different. It's like a whole different digital scene out there. And it's a lot of concrete. That concrete is doing nothing but absorbing. You figure, okay, so this is the concrete. These are all our ancestors, all the spiritual stuff we have done in the dirt, our ancestors' blood, energy, This is the concrete, and it's absorbing it. And this is where it stops at. Usually when you're sick or depressed or anxious or whatever, you should be able to go outside and walk on top of that dirt and absorb that energy, but you can't do that on top of concrete. And also when you're trying to give your energy back, when you're trying to put your energy back into the dirt, you're not going to get that, because you're on top of concrete. Concrete is a crazy barrier between you and Gaia and all your ancestors that's within it. It's a crazy barrier. And just how they've created a barrier between us and our dirt, they're creating a barrier between us and our sun up there. Like, they're creating two different kinds of concretes in between us to keep us trapped in here. Also in the metropolitan areas, like I said, coming back to the power company, I know individuals that'll teach us alternative sources, and that's if y'all want it. If y'all want it, I will bring these people out. We can have workshops. I will make it virtual as well for my people who can't be like physically present, but usually I'm in Philly, Jersey, New York, Delaware area with my stuff. So like, if y'all want, come out, learn how to put panels together, learn how to grow your own food. I'm gonna get into that in a second, but learn how to grow your own food. Coming back to the power, so when you giving PSG and all them your money, right, what they're doing is they know that the electromagnetic energy of our ancestors and our spiritual grounds are underneath the earth. They know that, and because they know that, not only have they strategically placed their buildings on top of certain areas that our ancestors had built, they have also strategically placed their electronic currents underneath our ground. So they're siphoning our ancestors' energies and putting them into these poles. If you notice, when we were in quarantine, when quarantine first started, it was crazy. Someone very close to me passed away about a week ago, and I just went to her funeral yesterday. And when I went into the church, I just felt this blanket over me, like this crazy blanket. This is where this download is coming from. I just felt this crazy blanket over me when I walked into that church. And I heard every conversation we ever had when this first started. Y'all don't know, but when this first started, I was working in healthcare. I was working at a rehab center in Jersey. And me and this nurse, we used to just sit and talk about the polls. Every time we drove to work, it was like 10 by the 10s, like just up the street, up the highway, and there's no cars on the road, so nobody sees it because everybody else is in quarantine. I've never been in quarantine this entire time because I went from working with them to working for myself. And when I was working with them, I was a what do they call those employees? I was like a person that had the paper in the car so I can drive and shit. I was doing it. So like I never been in quarantine. So this whole process of watching them build all this stuff, all these wires that y'all probably not even noticing, I seen that. I noticed that on a daily basis by the 10s and 20s. They're building them in crazy places. Hold on, I want to read what y'all saying. This was censored. I tried to text, but IG said comment not approved. We need to exchange electricity with the plants. Yes, because the plants also have electromagnetic energy. Okay, boom. So aside from the power spots and how they're like intentionally going through specific areas in the dirt to siphon the energy of our ancestors to make these power things to watch us and also create a grid over top of us. I was recently having this conversation with a sister at the Brain Bounce. If you guys don't come to the Brain Bounce, if you guys missed it this past Monday, I would love for y'all to come this coming up Monday because it was some really good conversations that had happened. But this girl was telling me how, okay, so you ever notice how when you walking down the sidewalk, you start feeling like an influx of emotions? You might just feel like really angry for a second, really tired, or just like randomly want to cry, just random moments. But if you pay attention to your surroundings during those times you walk in and you feel that influx on your emotions, you'll see a tower. You'll see a tower somewhere because there's a war on your electromagnetic energy. Like you have this barrier keeping you from the earth, and then you have these wires atop of you that's like cage motion keeping your energy within. So it's like you can't help but to be like manipulated in that way. And I like that you said that you can get your electricity from plants. There is a like when I was just on a post, protect your energy post, and your joint popped up. Yes, protect your energy. Yes, because when plants conduct photosynthesis, when we learned in school, there's electrons that they give off. We need those electrons. Who is that? We need. That's weird. When they have, yeah, something just happened off my stuff too. They keep kicking you off the live. Yeah, it's a lot going on right now. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, when the plants are creating photosynthesis, they give off electrons, and those are the electrons we need for power. In addition to that, that is a bounce off that we give between us and the plants or us and the dirt. Yeah, they keep cutting me off too. I don't know I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna keep it going because all that means is that I'm giving y'all something that y'all need to hear. And I'm gonna get off this before I end up with a laser on my forehead. But like, when they give off those electrons, we're electron beings. So I've been seeing a lot of posts about like how aggressive we are in these neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I want y'all to have a really good understanding of your magnetic energies. We are electron beings, okay? We are electron beings. So we do need negative ions. We do need the negative charge. We need electrons. That's what we need. We need a balance, of course. We need a balance of protons, neutrons, and electrons. But we are electron beings, right? A lot of that is being manipulated and misconstrued. If you read like previous papers from like our ancestors in the 80s, the 1880s and the 1980s, they wrote about how you can't have too many black people in a room because something will start. Yeah, because we're electron beings. And on an emotional level, what does negative electrons add up to? A negative emotion, right? So because we are electron beings, is being manipulated. And it's more so the jargon. Words are such a strong spell. Words are such a strong spell. You want to be careful with your words. So a lot of us are talking about alkaline diet, alkaline diet, alkaline diet, alkaline diet. What is an alkaline diet? Is electrons. So, I remember when I watched Halloween. I don't know if you guys are Mike Myers fans, but when I was a kid, I grew up on Halloween, and I remember there was the one where they made Mike Myers' house like a reality TV show, and they had that boy from Save the Last Dance on there, and he was a chef. And I don't know why I remember this like this, but this was like a aha moment with me, and I just carried it in my heart for the rest of my life. But he was saying how Mike Myers was the way he was because of his diet. Because your gut actually controls your brain. And his diet and the lack of certain nutrients and things turned him into an evil being. So, if your diet is lacking in electrons, what do you think your temperament is going to be? Because your body is craving electrons. You're going to crave negative energy. And you don't realize it because we're so hooked on jargon and stuff like that. If you don't eat it, you're going to get it in a different way. So I'm telling people, you got to look at the temperaments. Like, a lot of us joke around and say, oh, these McDonald's eaters, or you act like you eat McDonald's. But that's some real shit. What kind of energy are you eating when you eat McDonald's or KFC or Popeyes or Wendy's? And I'm not downing anybody who does, because about a month or so ago, I was over there eating fish and chicken sandwiches and french fries. So, and I was justifying it because I wasn't eating a burger and bacon. You know what I mean? And that doesn't make it okay. I've been 2 weeks clean. I'm not justifying nothing. I'm not shaming nobody or whatever. It's a discipline that we all have to have, myself included. But I have those moments. Like, I always think about Orange is the New Black, the girl that had like the joint she got to put around her head in order for her to eat, because the sounds get louder and louder, reminding you what you eating and what you not eating, and you shouldn't be eating this and you should be fasting. Like Corey's on the Moon Collective Company. That's her Instagram. She was telling me how she was fasting. And I'm a bit of a hypochondriac. But ever since she told me that, I've kind of latched on and started fasting myself. Not to the intentional level, but to the point now where, like, I don't eat until about 8, 9 o'clock at night. Like, I haven't eaten today yet. My food is up there. And it's all vegetables. So, like, just like little things like that to be mindful of. Because if you don't ingest it, it's going to come out in your energy. Like, if you're just eating fast food that doesn't have the electrons, maybe I would say that maybe this food that we're eating has neutrons. It doesn't have any type of electrical charge. Or if it does have an electrical charge, it's probably a positive ion, which is something that you don't want. Yeah, it's cleansing my body. And it's probably like electrons that you don't want and you shouldn't have. So you have to eat the electrons, or if you don't, you're going to have that nasty attitude, that we see in people who eat fast food or who eat a lot of Tyson chicken and all these other things. They have a temperament about them that you could tell that they eating some crazy shit. On top of the fact that, like, they're not ingesting electrons, they're also ingesting different kind of things. Okay, so that could be why it's a positive ions, because you're ingesting adrenochrome. And adrenochrome is an ion similar to like the pet dandruff and stuff like that, which is why I make the organites. I have pets in my house, so my organites be on 1,000 and all this computer stuff I have in here or whatever, and it helps neutralize that. But like, yeah, that's where I'm coming to. You just gotta watch what you eating. We gotta get rid of these electrical companies, and we gotta get out of these square boxes. We gotta get rid of the concrete. Like, when our kids, a lot of us shame our youth, because whenever things go wrong, we automatically say, why are you over there destroying your neighborhood? Why is that the first thing you do? You don't even know what you're doing. But what y'all don't realize is that spirit knows what needs to be done. Our kids don't understand it, and we don't understand it when we're watching our kids. But all that shit needs to be destroyed. I don't care if a black person own it, a white person own it, a Chinese person own it. I don't care who owns it. I don't care how long they've owned it. I don't care if it's a big business, a small business, whatever. I don't care. It all has to be destroyed when you think about the bigger picture here. And I know, like, the news likes to use propaganda and try to make us feel bad, so they want to show us the videos of the 2 or 3 black people that own something for 60 years on that street we destroyed or whatever. But that doesn't negate the fact that it needs to be destroyed. The concrete needs to come up. The wires need to come down. All these symbols of capitalism need to be destroyed. We are definitely trapped here through symbols as well. The people that, you know, that are working against us, they have their own magic, just like we've always had our own magic, and a lot of it is in the symbols. They use a lot of the symbolism in our homes, like a lot of the decor that y'all buy out of Walmart and Family Dollar and Dollar Tree and all that. You know, a sister had brought to my attention that those were all branding symbols that we used to get branded with when we were slaves. And so when you come into your space and you don't realize why you have an attitude or this, that, and the third, or why the stuff in your house keep breaking and stuff, it's because you have those symbols in your house. Well, I turned around and did my own research on that, and she was absolutely correct. It's a lot of symbols that we utilize that are from Nordic, and we know Nordic people are derived from those tribes of people. I think they had the lepers, people with leprosy that were mating with dogs for survival. Like, and then it's like a whole thing. I'm going deeper, but I would rather like do more reading on my own with that spiral before I talk to y'all about that, because if I talk to y'all about it now, it would sound crazy, but I know what I'm talking about. And but it's a whole thing, and when you get into that thing, it'll make you understand more so why a lot of us innately feel the way we feel about interracial relationships, and you'll understand why Hollywood pushes so hard to make us be okay with interracial relationships, because these people are trying to survive. They've been trying to survive with the DNA from animals, and now they're trying to survive with our DNA, and we're allowing it because we're always being so emotionally evoked. That emotionally evocation and manipulation is coming from the fact that we're on top of our ancestor stuff. We know we're on our ancestor stuff, but there's a block there with the cement, and we're in a cage with the grid, and we're being manipulated. It's like a frustration. It's like having a lion in a cage in the corner with no food. After a while, he's just angry and he don't know why. And it's because it's all this stuff because you won't accept the fact that you're an infinite being. All that sounds like hoopla to you, but it's not. The enemy knows you're an infinite being. That's why they're trying so hard to siphon your energy, and that's why they're making it so that people who speak against it sound crazy. Like, I know I probably sound crazy to some of y'all. That's why so many people have popped in the group and then popped back out, because I sound crazy. But like, I sound righteous to the people that need to hear this. Like, we shouldn't be in these. We should not be laying with these people. We're polluting our DNA. We should not be laying with people that lay with these people. So having those conversations of, have you ever been in an interracial relationship, those conversations should be had before you lay with them, because it's an energy exchange, and we have to, you know, bring our energy back in every way possible. It's not about hate. It's not about hate, because I don't hate nothing to nobody. Everything happened for a reason, and this happened because we backslid. This happened because we started mating with people we shouldn't have been mating with. From the rip, we were trying to mate with, if the story serves me correctly, it was an alien race. I want to say it was Palladians and another race, but we mated with these people, and they birthed individuals that could not live on this planet. Yet, just as any animal or being does on this planet, they still have the desire to live. So regardless if I'm supposed to live here or not, if I have the desire to live, I'm going to do what? I'm going to naturally fight. We was just talking about needing to know people's blood type before yes, you need to know people's blood type. You need to know if they laid, who they laid with, how many people, and what their energies was about. You need to learn about what were the issues and the patterns you dealt with in your previous relationships, because that say a lot about their energetic exchanges and their energetic realizations as well. Just a little bit, and all that matters. And those are just conversations we need to have. And that's also why, Jenna Bud, can you close that door, please? Oh, never mind, I get it. Give her, Scooby. Because she's just going to walk out the door. Thank you, baby. My dog trying to escape. But, like, yeah, you got to have all those conversations. And I know a lot of people are misusing the ideal of being polyamorous because they make it about being sexual. And I've recently had like a really good talk with my child's father, because Spirit just kept telling me, like, yo, you gotta tell this man something. You gotta tell this man something. You gotta tell him something. And for those of you who don't know, me and my son's father were together for 10 years. And one of the issues that we had in our relationship was the infidelity. And for me, throughout our relationship, it wasn't even the infidelity that was the issue. It was all the energy put towards lying about it and being and hiding and being deceitful. I already could see it in this man that he didn't want to be with just one woman. And then, like, now being present when Spirit has been talking to me, because now he has been backsliding since we broke up, and Spirit has just been telling me to tell him stuff, but I've been so scared to, because I always thought he was going to catch it wrong. But today I just had to tell him, like, yo, you're supposed to be polyamorous, and I got in your way, but, like, it's deeper than the sexual interaction. Like, it's something that you bring to these women that they have to have, and it's the same thing that you're going to bring to your daughter. And sometimes that's all it's about. Sometimes that's really all it's about, like having a strong group of women around your daughter, or just having that community, and also thinking about marriage outside of the romance and the emotional invocation. It's also about having contracts with these individuals and having contracts with these tribes and stuff like that. Like me, I don't have an emotional attachment towards marriage. For me, marriage is a business contract, and I would love to have like 3 to 4 business associates, men or women, because if something were to happen to me, I would rather there be 4 or 5 individuals making a collective decision on what to do with my children, my assets, and my health, rather than there being one person who's just so emotionally distraught. This person doesn't even have a good support system to make the decisions that need to be made. You know what I mean? Like, that's just something I would like to have. In addition to, like, hopefully my kids have kids and there's grandbabies involved. They need a village as well. So it's not, and also I'm not a super sexual person. Like, whenever I feel an overabundance in creative energy, I don't express it in sex. I express it in creating. That's why you see, like, every time y'all see me, I'm doing something different, or I'm doing something new, and y'all can't keep up with me, because I don't use my energy sexually. I use it creatively. And because I'm that kind of person, who is to say I attract someone who wants to use their creative energy different, and now I have to restrict you from using your energy the way you want to, because society said it can only be me. Like, and we have to be together for the next 70 years because I'm 30, and the women in my family usually live to about 100. So it's probably like the rest of your life, because you're not going to live as long as me. And like, no, don't do that to people. That's not what we doing to people. We got to bring our energy back. We got to bring our energy back on so many levels. We have to get our kids out of these schools, because you have to be mindful that if these individuals are giving us food in these fast food restaurants, you know they're giving this food to your children at school lunch and school breakfast and school snacks and school parties. You know, all that stuff is being fed to your child. And then the water. I remember, I live in Jersey. And when all that stuff was coming out about Flint, Michigan, I was living in East Orange. And there were some days we wasn't allowed to turn the water on. We would get letters on the door like, don't use the water today, or go and fill up your tummy and say, mind you, I gotta go to work. I gotta send my kids to school, and then I gotta come home from work and deal with this letter on my door that I probably should have seen at 8 a.m. But now I can't use the water at all because I'd already missed the window where I could have filled my tub up. So now me and my kids are just staring at each other, hoping that these couple gallons of water is enough for whenever they finish doing whatever they're doing. Like, stuff like that would happen. Like, and then I remember there was this whole news thing that came out where they were talking about the different levels of metal and the off balance pH in the water, in our water fountains, in our sinks, and not just out in public but also in our kids' schools. They're drinking those water fountains, they're washing their hands in those sinks. Did you know that when you flush the toilet, also this is the other really fucking nasty thing, so when you flush the toilet, if you do not have the seat, like the cover seat, not the little seat that you sit on, the seat that goes on top of that, all that stuff that's in the toilet goes into the air in an aerosol manner. So when y'all at public bathrooms and don't none of them have toilet seats, first of all, you gotta assume that even if it did have a toilet seat, a good 80% don't even have the knowledge to put the seat down before they flush the toilet. I don't know why people don't think this way, but whatever. So there's shit and piss all in the air. Okay? That's what's going on in these schools. These little kids that's high off sugar, full of vaccines, because I don't vaccinate my kids, but I know other people who do, and now my kids is at school with your kid, and their piss and shit is all in the air in this public bathroom. And I know my child don't got enough sense to wash his hands like a regular person. At that point in time, he was 6 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old. So these are all things that we have to put into consideration. Then they're coming to the school desk. How many of y'all gotta yell at y'all kids at home to stop putting stuff in their mouth? To get their fingers out their mouth, to get their fingers out the face. So after them dealing with all of that in the bathroom, them dealing with the non-nutrition based foods in the cafeterias that like they're hungry for, and then they have to deal with. So we be online. I've been online all summer just like the rest of y'all. I don't know how many old white women y'all need to see to know that these same old white women that we see online that's calling 911 on barbecues is also in these classrooms teaching our children and telling our sons to sit down and be quiet. You're allowing these women to show, school is about conditioning. Most of the people in our schools are old white women and old white men. We do have a few, some of them are white people and black people's bodies, but we do have a few of us in these schools. Like when I went to Virginia, I was very happy to see that most of the school was black women. However, they were still brainwashed and desensitized to certain things, and they couldn't get with me. Gratefully, his actual teacher was on my wavelength, and me and her, and she was also a Taurus, so me and her were able to, whatever. But that's gratefulness. That's because the universe knows who I am and knows how I act when the alignment doesn't occur. And I can't keep going into these schools and embarrassing my children. Because I do have a history of going in these schools and showing my ass. And so, that was an alignment for me. But, not everybody is so lucky. Some of y'all is dealing with sons that keep acting up in school. But have you ever thought that maybe these teachers are flexing on our kids in these classrooms, especially our black babies? They be flexing on our black sons. They hate our sons. I noticed that because I was in school. I remember the old white ladies, how they used to treat the boys in the class. And of course, like the boys are good with their hands. So if you're not occupying their hands, you're not occupying their minds. I don't care about that all. Of course they're going to learn how to read and write. My son is 7. He knows how to read and write, but he has to be doing it with his hands. He has to be drawing a picture and incorporating words in the picture, stuff like that. But that's not what the school gonna give him. They're saying he gotta learn it like this. Why does he have to learn it like this? How is it benefiting him learning like this rather than learning it how he wants to learn it? He's still learning how to spell and read, right? What's the difference? The difference is that you don't have control and you don't have authority. That's the difference. And that's why they make y'all seem like your kids have to be in school 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And 40% of that time, them teachers ain't even teaching your kid. They sitting there watching movies and eating snacks and bullshit and then playing with their fingers, or they got this fake ass detention shit, but really that's a break for them, so they don't gotta do nothing. Or they always got substitutes and symbols and all this stuff. None of that stuff is them sitting there with your child for 8 hours 5 days a week. So don't be fooled by the madness. I know when I first started homeschooling my kid, I was like, dang, we got to be doing this from 8 to 3 with both of y'all. And y'all got to do math, science, history, every day. No, you don't. You don't. And if you do math and reading on one day and do science on one day and decide to go on a field trip on another way, guess what? Your child is still learning. Your child is still enlightened. I am 30 years old and I still read books on history, science, language arts. I still read books on vocabulary. I'm still learning new languages. I'm learning Arabic and Latin now so that I can teach my children. I'm learning. So to tell yourself as a parent, your child has to know everything by the time they're age 18, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. You're not doing a service to you or them, which is why we can't even remember. Well, I can. But most people can't even remember the shit that they learned in high school and middle school and shit because it was so much being thrown at them. And all that stuff that was being thrown at them was only for test taking. It wasn't for them to actually learn it and absorb it and apply it to life. It was for test taking. It had nothing to do with their knowledge. So please, if you are being hard on yourself about homeschooling your kid because you think that you can't keep up with the public school system, know that there's absolutely nothing to compete with or keep up with because they ain't doing shit anyway. And they're not doing anything but conditioning your child and you and keeping you conditioned and keeping their place of authority over our lives. Because what do as a parent? You have to listen to the teacher. You have to listen to the principal. You have to listen to the security guard. You have to submit and listen, submit and listen. Whatever they say, whatever they do. And all that's doing is building a foundation throughout their life that anybody and anything can talk to them any kind of old way, because they got to submit. They can't solve their own problems. They got to go tell a security guard or a counselor or something. Like, we're teaching our kids how to depend on these people for stuff. So when they get older, it's like, oh no, you can't go solve for your own problems. You got to call the cops, or you got to call these people, or you got to call the IRS, or you got to call. That's what we're teaching our kids to do. You have to call on them in order to get things done, because you can't trust yourself to do it. And we have to break that. Baby, you can learn how to do multiplication when you're 20. If that's when the fuck you need to learn it. Baby, you can, you can do these things. 20 was a bit of exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. My baby's 7, he already multiplying, But it's not because I had to force it. It's because that's just what automatically came. Once he started adding and subtracting, he started making groups. Like, oh, this is a group of 5, so I can count by 5. Like, that's just what he naturally started doing. And that's what our kids are naturally going to start doing when you're not forcing it 8 hours a day. It's going to happen. And it's okay when it happens and how it happens. It's okay that your child doesn't have an IQ of 1,000, because the IQ test is whose test? It's their test. Why the fuck are you letting them tell you your kids are smart? We don't need their help. We taught them how to wash their ass. When we was ruling Spain, we had over 70 colleges and over 100 public bathrooms for everybody to wash their ass. And we had food overflowing. And we had a whole economy between Acapulco, the Mesopotamia, and Turtle Island. We had all of that. We never needed them. We never needed them for anything. You didn't need them to get an LLC. You didn't need them for a bank account. You didn't need them for the IRS. You didn't need them for a driver's license. You did not need them for anything. All these things you think you have to do, you do not have to do it. Let it go. We have so much to unlearn. Just let it go. Just let it go. All that bureaucracy, that's they shit. We don't need none of that. We don't need none of that. We can outgrow that. But I want y'all, I want y'all to know, what outgrowing the dependency on them, you're growing into an independency with yourself and with nature and with God. So it's not going to be an easy transition. It's a lot of luxuries we got with it. Y'all was able to pass y'all kids off to somebody. Y'all was able to go into a store and grab something and throw it in the oven and pretend like you're eating something with nutritional value. Like, all of that stuff is going to be taken away from you. And for some of y'all, it might be harder. For some of you guys, it might become so natural. I think for myself personally, it's just been like having my children and having my pets and having these interactions and lack of interactions just makes me want to do it even more. And so that's why I got the land that I got. And that's why I'm telling people to come. Like, if you already feel the feeling to come, and I've also been telling people, just because you come to Arizona with me doesn't mean it's the end all be all. You might come to Arizona with me and realize you want to go live in New Mexico, or you want to go live here, or you've experienced it and you just want to come back into the matrix. It's your world. It's not the end all be all. I might go to Arizona for a couple years and realize, you know what, I think I want to try to stay somewhere else next time, or whatever. I like to travel. I don't sit still well anyway. So, like, it's not an end all be all, but y'all can come. I'm leaving in December. I'm leaving for Arizona. We building off grid. I'm trying to attract the caravan to drive out there across country, and we out there. We're gonna grow our own food. We're gonna educate our children without any outdoor distractions. We're gonna entertain ourselves and each other without all the city hustle and bustle and distractions and cops coming to shut shit down. Cause like I'm like 40 minutes off of a highway on a dirt road. That's where my land is at, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not the desert y'all be watching on TV. Y'all have to exit out this matrix, because y'all allowed the matrix to fill y'all with so many images and videos that y'all don't even know what's reality and what's not, and what's somebody made up for you in a movie. All that shit y'all see in movies about the desert and shit is not real. It's not real. The desert don't look like that. The desert don't look like that. It don't feel like that. And you can live in the desert, and you can grow food in the desert, and you can have animals in the desert, and you can survive. Did you know that? You probably didn't. Why would they tell you that? That's the land they haven't touched yet. When they touch it, because Bill Gates is over there now. He's building a smart city over there now. So I guess when he gets done touching it, then they'll start verifying that it's okay to live in the desert next year. And I guess that's when everybody will want to do it too. But no. We don't need none of the stuff that they got. We have to protect our energy. And I'm letting y'all know right now, just how everywhere else, it's going to be some people that you didn't want to leave behind. It's going to be some people that you never thought you would have to leave behind. But I'm letting you know right now, baby, those people that you've been staying around for is weighing you down, and you're not supposed to stay for them. Because if you were supposed to stay, you wouldn't have the desire to go. You wouldn't be yearning to leave. So all those reasons why you're making up to anchor you, that's your fear trying to anchor you. And I don't know if y'all know about the story Jonah and the whale, but the moral of the story is stop trying to run away from what the universe is telling you you're supposed to do. Otherwise, the universe is going to put you in positions where you don't have no choice. So you can either make the decision you want or get that tap on the hand. And I hate getting the tap on the hand. The tap on the hand hurt. Hurts my feelings every fucking time. This is a tap on our hands right now. Y'all didn't want to take y'all kids out of school. Y'all wanted to keep eating that bullshit. Y'all wanted to keep listening to the United States about your healthcare. You wanted to keep listening to the United States about what to eat and what to drink. Okay, now we put y'all in a position where you're going to die with the United States too. Are you willing to die with them because you keep listening to them over what God told you? This COVID shit, this quarantine shit. This is a perfect example of God smacking us on the hand because we not listening, and we keep making reasons like, oh no, we gotta stay integrated. Oh no, love doesn't know what color. Oh no, we gotta do this. We gotta be okay with that. We gotta accept this. We gotta be okay with that. It's okay. We can just march. That's why we're in this mess now, because y'all don't fucking listen. So what's going to happen is y'all keep not listening, and you keep making excuses to ignore whatever calling it is. Your calling may not be to go with me. Your calling I've already been censored. People have been kicked out of this group. I've been kicked out of my group. This is my life, and I've been kicked out already. But like, you know, if you don't listen to yourself, the universe is going to keep putting you in positions where you ain't going to have no choice. People are going to start pushing you away. Like, this is another talk that I had with my son's father today too, because he lost some friends. He lost some friends that I told him to get rid of when I was with him, because I knew they wasn't shit and they wasn't good for him and they was holding him back. But because I am who I am, at that point in time, he didn't understand to respect what was coming out my mouth. But because he didn't listen and he waited so long, certain events happened to where now he has no choice but to stop being around those people. And I told him, I said, you on my phone being sad right now, but do you understand what just happened? And he was like, no, I just feel alone. I was like, babe, you just got kicked out of Babylon. So get the fuck on. What are you sad for? You didn't want to leave, so what happened? The universe made it so you had to leave. Now you ain't got no choice. Now you got to stop messing with them people, because God already told you to stop messing with the people. You ain't want to listen. So now they hurt your feelings. And that's what's going to keep happening. Oh, you like that necklace I made? Yes, that's another healing piece. That's a good piece to wear against all this stuff that I'm talking about now in this video with the EMF emissions and everything like that, and being mindful. And that's why I make organite jewelry for you to wear on your body. So no matter where you're walking or where you're going, you got the protection on your body. And for those of you who think that it's a bunch of hoopla or whatever, all right, let's keep it 100. For back then when we was tribes of Akabulan and when we was tribes of Turtle Island or whatever, if you do your research, we had lapis pieces in our teeth. We would put the crystals in our teeth. If you were a healer, a communicator, in any type of way, you would have those pieces in your teeth. Why? Because those are good pieces to be a medium and a communication. When we went to war, we would have obsidians, carnelians, and red jaspers in our breastplates and our armor war. Why? Because that's the energy of the root chakra. That's the warrior energy. That's also invoking Aries. Well, back then it was a different energy, like Ogun, and whoever else they had. Depends on what tribe you're speaking on. But you could be Liza, Ogun, depends on where you at. But essentially those were what those crystals were using. Yes, the enemy knows the tools to use, because these people are very well versed in magic. These are the Nordics we're dealing with. These are Nordics. They're the Vikings. They're the ones that was doing the black magic amongst the pagans. They're the ones that was doing the black magic up against the Gothics and the Vedics. These people, like, they know it. And it's funny because they know it and they use it against us, and then they have manipulated us so well to where if I go on stage and say I'm about to do juju music, everybody gets scary. How y'all so cool with all this pagan shit around y'all all year round, but when I say juju music, y'all stiffen. Juju music is for you. Archons, Drake. Yup, you got it all on the nail. And that's why these people are in Hollywood. Someone very intelligent brought to my attention, and I also did my my background research. I had the pleasure in meeting a few melanated people from Cali, and I did not like the energy. It was very weird. And then I come to realize that Hollywood is actually a special wood that was used for the magic wands, that was used in Nordic and pagan rituals to create illusion, specifically for illusion. So a lot of that stuff y'all see in Hollywood amongst the celebrities, it makes sense that they are marketing to y'all what to accept, what kind of behaviors to accept. The fact that y'all accept a flag that's upside down chakras. I have no negative emotions towards individuals that, you know, express their sexuality and their gender identity in different ways, because I like y'all. And ancient speaking, those who held male and female energies on that level inside themselves were actually spiritual beings and people we used to come to for spiritual assistance and healing. So don't get it fucked up what's coming out my mouth. What I'm saying is against Hollywood, not people. But the flag that they utilize is the chakras upside down. They're teaching you to utilize your creative energy as sexual energy. So you know how in the summertime everyone so in Hollywood it says in the summertime y'all want to have sex, y'all feeling it's thought season, y'all want to have sex, it's time to be single, get rid of that person you was with during No, during the summertime, when the sun, because we're sun people, is when we feel most charged to create art, build houses, plant food, make music, have our events. This is the creative energy. This is still root chakra energy. All of this is root chakra energy because we're manifesting physical things, right? But Hollywood has convinced us to ignore our creative energy in that way and use our creative energy to have sex instead. And so we've been so messed up for so many generations, especially between like the rapings and that level of manipulation that has brought a hypersexuality in our community. That doesn't help. It's a recipe for a misuse of our root and sacral chakra energy. During this time, you're supposed to be building shit. You're supposed to be building houses and getting things ready for the wintertime. I keep telling y'all, it's time to go to Arizona or go to whatever off-grid land y'all need to be on, because y'all need to build y'all houses. Because come wintertime, this winter is not going to look the same way it did last winter. It's not going to look the same way it did last winter. And y'all can keep walking through this electromagnetic field acting like y'all invincible. But the only reason why y'all feel invisible is because you're addicted. You're addicted to the electromagnetic energy that these grids are creating over top of y'all. Y'all addicted to the electronics. Y'all addicted to the Wi-Fi. Y'all addicted to all this stuff. I know some of y'all got kids, nieces and nephews and cousins. How do they act when their Wi-Fi don't work? How do they act when their electronics don't work? It's like they've been unplugged, right? That's the same way you and I would act after a week without sun. Let that sink in. How our child acts the moment their Wi-Fi or electronic is unplugged, it is the same way, the same exact way. There are psychological weird ass experiments that these people have done on us that show and prove after a week of no sun, we go into this hallucination. We go into the screaming, the tantrums, and everything the same way that they do when their stuff is unplugged. They're coming after our kids. And if that's not motivation enough, just know that if you keep ignoring it, God gonna smack that hand. Let your fear of God be enough. Since loving yourself, loving your children, and loving the people around you is not enough. Can the fear of God be enough? Can that be enough? The fact that like God's gonna do whatever needs to be done, and if you are a casualty, then that's what the fuck needs to happen. Do you know how many people in Babylon and Sodom and all these and Atlantis and all these other places had casualties that should not have been casualties had they had listened to what God said months ago when He gave them the download? God gave me the download. I'm trying to give it to y'all because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Because when I don't give y'all my downloads, it just plays louder and louder in my head, and then I just be walking around talking to myself because I can't contain it. I'm not gonna keep doing it because it's not conducive to me. It's not working out, and it's not conducive to y'all either. Because I feel like y'all really need to hear what I gotta say, and I feel like some of y'all are just looking for somebody that's on the same wavelength, and I'm here. I love y'all. And we just gotta protect our energy. And it's not just, I know there's like a war on police and stuff like that. Also keep in mind of the war on them. There's so many jinns in the government and in the police force, down to like the colors the shade of blue that they wear, the numbers on their badge, the shapes on their badge, the process to them becoming police officers, the manipulation, the psychological manipulation they have to go through to conduct themselves in society and conduct themselves amongst themselves. It's a war. It's a big war on their electromagnetic energy. When it comes to the police force, the jinns are really winning. That negative force is really winning. They're around that stuff all day. Think about all the shit that's in their cars and all the symbols that's on the outside of their cars. Yeah, it's a war on all of us. And they winning over there. You don't gotta let them win over here though. Like it's so much. It's so much. And I know like running is not an option. We can't run away from it, because even if y'all come here out there with me, it's still going to be moments where we run into this shit, because at some point in time we have to build ourselves up well enough to run into this shit head first. We have to build ourselves up enough, our courage, our 10 spheres on the tree of life, knowing that our energy cannot be created or destroyed. Oh yes, definitely the military has a lot of symbols and a lot of manipulation, and they deal with a lot of different technology. In fact, they have the transcranial something helmet that came out about 4 or 5 years ago. They were studying it out in Texas. And what the helmet is the helmet controls the electromagnetic field in your brain waves. Mind you, like I told y'all, your brain is controlled by your gut. So in order for these people to control your brain, they have to control what you're digesting in your gut. Otherwise, your gut is always going to tell your brain when you're doing something wrong. You ever been about to do some bullshit and your gut start hurting, you start getting but you choose to ignore it? Yeah, that's you ignoring God. Stop doing it. That's why your sacral chakra is there. We're sun beings, sun, sacral. Pay attention, y'all. You listening? So they control your gut. That's why they feed them the way they feed them. You have to eat this, and you have like 4 or 5 minutes to eat it. So you're eating quickly. You're eating in a way that's like affecting all the systems in your body. You have to eat all of that. And now, because it takes 21 days for you to get in the habit of doing it. So once you're in the habit of doing it, now I can put the transcranial helmet on you and really control your mind. Or I can put you around all these wires, and I can make you watch these videos and stuff like that, and you'll absorb it differently because I've controlled your gut. That's what happens. And that's also what's happening in our schools. If you notice, the brands of food that we see in these schools, we do not see in the store. I've never seen these juice cups, these milk cartons. I've never seen this brand of egg, these brands of bread. None of these brands are in the store. Why not? Why can't I go in the store and get the exact same fucking sunrise donut that my child ate this morning? If you control the gut, you control the brain. They're trying to control our kids. They've always been doing it. And for a long time, they were trying to control us. It didn't work as well as it did for our parents, obviously, because we still coming out the way we are, and our children are coming out even more liberated. We always come back. God always come back. They build you up like a machine, and they are selling prison food. They're selling a whole prison mentality. You exit the room when the bell rings. They have more drills on shootings and fires. They make sure they have 2 fire drills a month and at least 1 to 2 shootings a month. I know this because I come from a teaching background. I was a teacher in Virginia, and we had to have these. And even when I was a home health aide, I had to have a disaster drill, fire drill, and an intruder drill. And we had to do that every month. We would have more of those drills than we would have education on healthy eating, on anything else. Now, I remember last year was the last year my sons were in school. I pulled them out of school last year. And what took the cake for me was the fact that I'm sitting there behind my son's computer listening to them tell my son how he needs to get the immunization. And my son is 7 years old now. At the time he was 6, and he can't even say the full fucking word right. Like, what is that immunization? Like, you can't even spell that. Don't say that shit to me. like, that's not what we finna do. Why are y'all feeding my 7-year-old these words? He don't know. He don't know what's going on. He don't know about the illness too much aside from the little kitty jokes that he be seeing on TikTok and stuff like that. He don't know nothing. So y'all don't need to be teaching him that in that fashion. When a year or so ago, all we had to do was wash our hands. And if y'all paid attention to bio class when we was in high school, they taught us how to handle ourselves in the event any virus came about, because all viruses have the same semi-permeable membrane as well as bacterias. And that was something that we learned a long time ago. But I guess, most people didn't absorb that. And I feel like that was also intentional. Like, me and my son's dad, we have the awesomest conversations. But we were also talking about gifted and talented school, because he was in advanced school and so was I. And we both felt like it was just a weird experiment, because the way his worked was he lived in Elizabeth. So a bus would come, specifically pick him up and take him all the way to a different city, to the suburbs. And he would go to school with them, and then they would come back and drop him off. And it wasn't the same thing. I didn't go to a whole different school, but I was in all different classes. Like, I didn't have no classes with my friends. I wouldn't see my friends all day until it was time to get back on the bus, because I was on all these AP classes, and we went on a lot of trips. And I want y'all to watch Beyond Mystics on Hulu. He said something that was so crazy. So, on these trips, you remember when you went on school trips? I went on so many school trips, I don't really remember all of them. Like, and I remember things. Like, I remember things from when I was like 3 years old. I remember drinking bleach out of a big Taco Bell cup. And I remember the way it looked, and how like some of the drawings was kind of like wiped off the cup because it had been washed so much. And I remember I remember crazy shit, but I do not remember these field trips too much. So I'm watching this documentary, and they talk about how they would specifically pick out these kids. Like, we would pick kids from urban areas who had parents that were like in certain kind of mindset. Like myself, I was living with my dad and my dad's girlfriend, but I was also an abused child, so I was dealing with those things and whatever. And then my son's dad, his parents were on drugs, his father was absent, so he was dealing with those things. So like, it's like they specifically would pick out these kids with these different like dynamics, and they would send them on these school trips, and they would do shit to the kids, and then they would make it so like the child wouldn't even remember. They would implant new memories in the child's head. And sometimes they would do that during the school day too. So sometimes when you would pick up your kid and be like, so what you learned today? What you do today? They'd be like, nothing. And I'm like, nigga, you was gone for like 8-9 hours. I know you did something. And I'm not saying that's every school with every child, etc. I'm not going that far. But some of these schools, some of these kids, it's happening. It is happening. And if it can happen to them so discreetly, it can happen to yours just as discreetly. Don't be so big-headed that you think you and your peoples is invincible to this crazy shit that's going on. I live in New Jersey. I live here. A couple years ago, they had a whole news article on how like 20 to 30 teachers and principals throughout New Jersey, not just one school, not just one school street, throughout New Jersey, found a whole child pornography business throughout New Jersey. And they've been doing it for years. Yes, yeah, you could join my live. They've been doing this for years. So could you only imagine like what they were doing to these kids in school and class? And they were coming home saying, I don't know nothing, don't know why they don't like their teachers, they feel weird, like all this stuff. And then I lived in Virginia for a couple years. That year that I lived in Virginia was when all that Einstein stuff, Epstein, whatever his name is, stuff started happening. The Asian lady he was with, she owned massage parlors that actually were centers for child trafficking and women trafficking. Did you know that those places were only 5 minutes? One of those places was only 5 minutes from my house where I lived at in Virginia. That's how close me and my children were. And it was the times where I have lost my son in Walmart. It was times where, my kids' school was directly across the street with me. Like, it's just like so crazy. This stuff, like, and we don't pay attention to, or you think that like you're like immune to or invisible to, and it's going to happen. What's up, Shango?
Hey sis, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am good. Just here listening to you feed, man. I'm really appreciating the knowledge that you're talking about, because I'm always talking about this type of stuff too. So, and the fact that you're from Jersey, I didn't know you were from Jersey. So, um, I can definitely reflect on that because I'm originally from Camden, and me and my family moved to Lawnside, which is in the suburbs. It's surrounded by a bunch of white towns, you know, and my family is in deeply immersed in the school, the middle school in the melanated town. And you know
Mm,
they have to actually go the children in the school district in the melanated town. They don't have a high school, so they have to go outside their town to the white suburb community into that school. So and then they become minorities in there because of the how you know the surrounding other towns is mainly white. So
right.
it's
I
very
definitely feel.
and the fact that like those suburban areas they still believe they still have belief in the food pyramid that we were taught in school. So I don't understand why they have that belief. You know?
No, that makes a lot of sense. I went to Bordentown for a little bit. And the year that I went to Bordentown is when they changed it to a regional school. And it was a big deal because it was like a small group of melanated people. We still was the minority. It still wasn't like a large group, but it was enough to where like the teachers and everybody was outraged. And I didn't really know why until I graduated and I added Bordertown on Facebook and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, all these teachers was racist. This is crazy. Because I graduated the year that Obama was running for office. I graduated in 2008. So that was like a crazy year where a lot of our teachers' true colors was coming out and, saying things. And mind you, like we in the classroom just listening to their opinions.
Mm. Yeah, that was that was an interesting year. Yeah, that was the same. That really showed people's true colors. Like right now, actually, it's like a loop, kind of just a different situation. Actually, showing people who's about this vaccinations, who's about being healthy and being mind, body, spirit aware instead of just being lazy and just taking the shot. So and some of the people that are doing this look like us. They look like us, they act like us, and they're like totally for this fear mongrel.
And that's something that we have to come to terms with too, because throughout history, we've always had to leave each other behind as well. Because there's tribes of us that's just not, it's just not with it. They want an easy button. They want to, they want to stay with the disconnect. And
Mm,
and a lot of people don't understand that there's work either way you go. If you want to stay, if you want to get vaccinated and stay within the school system and keep your job and stuff like that, it's working that. I recall there's times where I had to play eeny, meeny, miny, mo between putting gas in my car to go to work or buy myself food. And that's how I felt with the job. So
yeah.
like a lot of people lose sight of that. But that's something that you want to do that. But then when you don't get the vaccine yet, it's working this. Instead of going to the grocery store for hours at a time, now you have to go outside and plant stuff and wait for it to grow and learn about it and stuff like that. But in the meantime, this person over here already knows how to grow, so I can just eat what they've already grown. Like, and that's a village mentality needs to come back. We've lost that, especially with the don't say nothing to me, my kids, mind your business culture
Hmm.
we've been raised in. I personally wasn't raised in it. I grew up in apartment projects, and everybody grew up with my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother was like the city lady. Like everybody still bang with my grandmother. She's still the city lady. So like I've always grew up with that village mentality. I always had that. So I be telling people like, we're not supposed to be doing this shit alone. Nobody's saying, yeah, do it and then good luck. Like, no, we're supposed to be doing this together.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject as well. I've been going through a lot with just the industry that we are in, the entertainment industry, and collabing and coming together, and everything being such a cliquish thing, and like everyone's trying to chase after the bag and survival of the fittest type of attitude because everyone's in fear of how long is this going to be? How long are we going to have this moment?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, You know, I thought this was actually going to bring us more to an understanding of bartering and bartering with our creative energies instead of using the dollar bill as exchanging energies. I thought this, I thought this pandemic was going to be able to show that we literally everyone around the world have gone through this one particular thing, so we could actually come together and have a conversation. Different races and different backgrounds and stuff. We all literally went through the same thing, and I was hoping people would have that kind of common sense to be like, hey, my neighbor went through the same thing. What's going on with you? What's going on? Like, how are you feeling? After you went through this, because I know I almost lost my sanity during the shutdown. And not being of service to the people. After it being a habit for me. Being of service for people. So, yeah, you would think that people would want to come together a little bit more and not try to, you know, uh, utilizing this bag
Yeah,
to
I really agree.
motivate
I
them.
thought that we were going to see how asinine money is really, but
Yeah.
it just made us see just a little bit further. And I think it's more so because we're only seeing a little bit behind. Like a lot of us, I don't have anything against the Moorish American Science Temple at all because I do, I parlay with them. I feel like, I came and walk alongside. But not but and at the same token, I feel like we pick and choose what histories we want to pay attention to that already feed our spirit, and because we already live in a capitalist soul, it's like, oh well, we had capitalism in that era. But if you go not but and if you go back further than that, when we were in tribals, before we even became Moors, and we were, that derogatory term like Berbers, we were a multitude of tribes, we didn't have currency. We didn't use currency. We didn't barter. We gave. If I got something and you need something, you got it. And this is something that we were doing from Akabulan to Turtle Island. We had trade routes already of what we were giving and receiving, and it wasn't about, oh well, you gave me 80 pounds of corn and you only gave me 5 of. No, it's this is what we got, this is what it is, let's work together, figure it out. Granted, it wasn't foolproof. Of course, you're still going to deal with the yin and yang of things. You're still going to have aggressive individuals and greedy individuals. We can't, you can't get rid of that. That's always going to be around. But on an overall scale of things, there needs to be a better balance. I think that we just having a hard time seeing past the capitalism. People cannot see past this bag for some reason. And when you look at the dollar, it's so many spells on the dollar. It's no reason why we can't see past it. It even says, in God we trust on it. Like, we all supposed to have a trust and stuff like that. The spell is already on the paper. What you need a trust for? You already got this, what you need to see out your third eye for? There's already an eye on this paper. Like, it's so many like symbols, and like we may not act like, we may not want to believe in the symbols, but they're still tying us down. It's tying us down to the point where, like, if you listen to music, I don't care what radio station you turn on, every song got something to do with chasing a bag, chasing paper. If you're not talking about money, don't talk to me. And don't do no business with me. And these are mantras that we're chanting when we turn on the radio. These are mantras we're chanting when we make these videos and this, that. Like, we're not even paying attention to the spells that we allow come out our mouth because we want to support the celebrity from Hollywood, from this place of illusion. And it's like, I just feel an obligation to just keep telling people, and the ones that supposed to hear me are going to hear me, and the ones that don't. But I don't like the charge. People come around me and I've noticed, like, as a vendor, if people come around me, they don't really stay around my table too long because I don't post my prices. I don't post my prices to be deceitful. I just keep forgetting, and my paper always gets messed up because people like putting food on the table. But like, I'll tell them my price, and my price be so low, they look at me crazy. But I don't do this for money. It's been times where I love to go to New York because that's the only time I can walk around till like 5, 6 a.m. But I'll go to New York and just hand jewelry out to strangers. Like, because this is bigger than that. It's bigger than me making money off y'all. This is something y'all need. New York is like the worst area for y'all to be in without it.
Yeah,
And
see,
it's like,
You better than me, man. You better. I was doing that when I first started High Life with DJ Little Dave downtown in Center City on 12th
Mm-hmm.
and Walnut. We intentionally charged only $5 to get in when other clubs were charging 15 to 20. And
Right.
everyone that came in, they had an option to take a free crystal every time people came in. And actually, someone sent me a message not too long ago and said, from High Life, I started my crystal grid. And they sent me a picture of their crystals, and they got all the crystals they got received. It was from the club, from them coming to our
Cool.
club. So, I so feel that in so many levels. There's some people that didn't receive it. There's some people that have received it, but that was a gift in its own. And that's you know that's what everybody really needs, some unconditional love that you just happen to just do when you go to New York. And I'm hoping that we could create more events that will show this initiative. That's what I try to do myself when
Mhm.
I'm hosting events and trying to bring other vendors in. Like, everyone's asking me, how much is your vending fees? I'm like, well, it's a donation. Like, however you're feeling that how much do you appreciate me for creating this space for you to vend? Is really the question. Um,
Mhm.
we just really don't have we have to change how we think about things and how we receive things, and
Right.
how we give is, it's even if people are eating meat, like, you have to have an understanding of how you hunt, how you respect the animal before you eat the meat. Like,
Right.
what do you do when before you sacrifice, or this, having understanding that the animal knew that it was coming, and was willing to be this offering for you, you know just having those type of understandings is just where we should be more intentionally going. you know
Yes, I agree. Just being more like intentional and considerate of energies altogether. And it definitely starts with being considerate of all the energies of yourself, because once you realize how sensitive your energy is, it'll help you put in perspective of every little thing you put on it in your body or around your body that could, it don't even have to be your body. It could be like your outer self. Just being more mindful of all of that, period, down to the music and the movies you watch and stuff like that. Like, I can't listen to the same music anymore.
oh
I would
my
like
god.
to, but I can't because it just
uh
don't resonate with me. After a while, I was just like, yo, this shit dumb.
yeah.
I don't even want to sing these lyrics. Like, I've been trying to buy land on the East Coast. I think that it's very intentional that it's been so difficult to buy land on this side of the area, with there being so many like bureaucracies and stipulations and things like that. I did
Mhm.
get land over in Arizona, and my intentions was to have more events like that, because my mind with buying land was everybody's common denominator is bills. You do what you do and you ask for income because of, you got to pay rent, or you had to pay for this because that person had to pay rent, and you had to pay for this because that person.
Right.
It always boils down to like bills, and I've already told people they need to stop paying these utility companies, because utility companies are digging up our ancestors and siphoning their energy out the ground with these pipes and these wires. And but with the rent and stuff like that, like, if we took away that denominator, and I feel like that's the biggest bill we all got. Like, I don't pay my rent here by myself. Thankfully, I live with my family. Once upon a time, I was paying $1,200 rent a month by myself, but now, and even
Okay.
then now, so it's still a lot. And we just gotta take that factor out of people. Like, give us our land back. If we take our land back, get rid of the landlords. The landlords
Mhm.
is an issue. These people that are telling us we got to pay this certain amount of money, knowing damn well we don't make that certain amount of money, because, for all these politicians to know about the redlining when they're trying to market to us for our votes, they should
Mhm.
apply the redlining when they get into these seats and start allowing landlords to charge what they're charging.
Right.
And that's a
Right.
conversation to be had. But like, I just was telling people, like, yo, if everybody take that one rent payment, 1 month, I need everybody from 1 month say, fuck this rent, fuck this PSCNG, and take that money and put it in a pot
we could buy some land that fast. You don't have to worry about being put out the next month. You don't have to because we already got the land. You only need to do it one time.
Hey, sis,
And
we could talk about that on another note.
yeah,
'Cause yeah, we we could
I
talk.
definitely trying to get people in that way.
Yeah, I've been keeping that a little hush, but so we could talk about that a little later.
But
But
I
yeah,
definitely been going to these events talking my shit. And I definitely will be hosting retreats and stuff like that on my land so that we can have more in-depth conversations along those lines. Because I did drive out there. I do see some things that we can do out there, and I don't want to have those conversations on this device about that. But
yeah,
planting to
yeah,
see
yeah.
if y'all want to do something out there. I'm the one. I got some ideas and I got some plans.
Yes, yes. You definitely have to have a sit down around the round table.
Yeah. I be Corey, she was on here, the owner of the Moon Collective Company. She started a brand bounce on Mondays. Now that I'm done teaching summer school, I'm definitely over there on Mondays. And lately we've had a few conversations along those lines. I've aligned with a few awesome people that were willing to have those conversations. So if y'all ever want to come out, you included on a Monday, I'm there,
Mhm.
and we are building on that.
All right. Yes, definitely. Definitely interested. I'm looking at some other states as well. So, you know, we gotta come together on some things.
Definitely, I'm here for all of it, all of them. We just
Yeah.
have different places we can go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And just to let you know, man, I'm really appreciating the authentic artists like you and some other people that are expressing more conscious uh conscious music, I guess you could say. Um,
Appreciate it.
um there needs to be a lot more of y'all coming out, but I know with it's we it takes time because they are after us right now. They're really after us and watching us. So it's good that we're still staying underground for right now until everything topples.
Yeah, and I think that some of us, at some point, myself included, I have always like had aspirations of like being on certain podiums and platforms and pedestals, but we don't need those. I think
Nah.
that's something else that we have to come into to thought about, that as long as the tribe knows who you are and you spreading that love through the tribes, you don't need that pedestal or that podium that they be standing on. It look pretty, but that shit,
Hmm.
all that shit is under Hollywood. You don't
Hmm.
want it. So we
Yeah.
here, we're loud, and if you go into these events and supporting, and if you're in the space that you're supposed to be in, you gonna see what we doing. I love the fact that we've gotten out of the habit of feeling like we had to be on a celebrity star to be someone, because that ain't real, and it's
Oh yeah.
nothing good that come out of being in that tribe at all.
Yeah. I've
And that's
definitely,
another reason why I did the convention.
yeah, I've caught myself a few times of almost falling into that trap, especially being just us being in the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
like the way it looks, on camera is not really all the way true. The behind the scenes is completely different,
Completely.
and the behind the scenes is crazy and wild and untamed, and people really don't have that understanding that you really have to have some composure, some discipline, some control in when you're in you're in these industries, because you could lose yourself very
Hmm.
easily, and you won't even and you're not even in Hollywood yet. You're not even in Hollywood yet,
You're
and
just trying to get in.
yeah, you just getting there, you can lose yourself. Like everyone's masters at their crafts by the time you get to a certain point. So
Hmm.
everyone from promoters to club owners and stuff, and people creating these illusions, these beautiful, amazing illusions to grab people in and create vortexes and stuff. Like this shit's real, man. And
Mhm.
every time I DJ and people ask me to DJ their events, I always ask them, what is your intention for your event? And that will tell me exactly where they stand on the spectrum for me. That is from my own experiences. A lot of people don't even have intentions when they make these events. They just to make some money. Like, well,
Mhm.
that's
They just
not
want
where
something
I'm
good.
at all.
Yep, I agree.
So, I appreciate these moments that we have and being able to connect and express and just push it out into the ethers so others can feel it and hear it. So, you know.
I agree. I definitely agree. And that's why I did the convention, because I got tired of hearing artists say like, I want to win awards. I just want to win awards. And for me, what I kept hearing when they say that is, I just want recognition for my art. I want
Mhm.
recognition for the things that I've created. I want people to thank me, and I want to stand in front of people and thank people. And so that's what I try to do. That's what my intentions have been with this convention, to provide that, to fill that void, to show people like, listen, y'all don't gotta be in Hollywood for you to be seen, heard, or appreciated. You can be
Yeah.
appreciated right here and get the love that you need right here. This is enough. And for a lot of us, we have to learn how to accept the fact that this needs to be enough, because if you don't accept the fact that this is enough and you still following that American dream and the capitalism and stuff, you've already given up your soul, because
Yeah,
our soul ain't even rooted in that shit. That ain't even us.
you're
It makes
chasing
my
after a
soul
high.
itch when somebody thanks God for some materialistic stuff that God did not want you to have. If God did not make you have that, then God did not help you get that. Don't do that.
Mhm.
like like if
You're literally chasing after a high after you felt that one super high that change of frequency. That's what you're trying to chase after when you still have to go through the levels to get to the next level of a different frequency. So it's you
Mhm.
know you're trying to you're trying to chase after something that you just have to grow from. And the other everyone's has this worshiping or codependency on the system or whatever it is that they why it's so hard for people to let go of 9 to 5s and stuff um 9 to 5s that they don't like. Let me rephrase that they don't like. um uh that codependency, people should be putting that energy into their heart, because that's the only thing that has been consistent in their lives. It's the only thing that's been consistent since we've been here on this earth, that has never skipped a rhythm, never skipped a beat, always told us when we were fear or when we're in love. And so like we should be turning all that stuff around inside and to find answers that we are missing.
I agree. I definitely agree. And people don't realize it's been so much energy put towards us letting go of art, to where it's not being taught in schools. In Hollywood, they've taught us in movies and stuff like that, that art, starving artist concept. If you want to be an artist, there's no jobs in that and stuff like that. Like, it's so much energy pushed towards us moving away from art. Like, y'all don't want to be artists, there's no jobs in that. Art is not about job. Art is not about career. Art is not about capitalism. Art is not about money. Art is communication. Art
Yeah,
is unification. Art
yeah.
has how art is how you're going to attract your tribe. Because when I'm on stage and I do my music, my tribe comes to me. And those who are not in my tribe, they're going to be repelled by it, or neutral, or they're not going to, care about it at all. But when I make my art, when I make my jewelry, when I paint, when I do anything, my tribe comes to me,
Hmm.
because that's how I attract my tribe. If we pay attention to us historically speaking, if you go into a tribe, you will see totally different art, totally different tapestries, totally different basket weaving, totally different crop concepts in their gardens, painting, music, drums, everything is totally different. And then you will go maybe a few walks down, a couple hours down, to something else totally different, because that's a totally different tribe. And that's just how we always been. And I think me as an artist, for me, it's always been that idea that I'm competing. I don't like to compete with people. Competition makes me feel insecure. So like I never wanted to compete with nobody, and that's what kept me away from art. Because people always made it seem like, oh, you know, out of everybody that wants to be an artist, all black people want to do is be artists. All black people want to do is be artists. But only 5 of y'all gonna get in. I didn't like those odds. I already knew that that counted me out. So like that kind of pushed me away from the art for a while because it's like I don't like the competition odds in it, and I probably won't get picked. So I'm spending all this money and doing all this stuff for no reason. But that's because I was aspiring for the capitalism. I was creating for money and stuff like that. But that's not what it's about. We have to revamp what it's about.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's what's an issue with a lot of these event curators and stuff like that. A lot of them don't realize that event curation is an art. You're creating art. You're manipulating energies. You've manipulated visuals to create flyers and posters and all this stuff. You're doing all this manipulation to entice people to come to you. That's art. That's art. And it's also magic. And the fact that you're doing it for money is selling yourself short. By so much,
Yeah.
you're selling yourself short.
And not only that you're doing it for money, you're shortchanging the people that you're creating this space with. You know, you're shortchanging the entertainment. That's been a issue from multiple people that I've talked to, down to Ursula Record, to Ben Arsenal, and a few other people. Like there's been an issue with these people shortchanging us for, you know, or like not paying us what we're worth, you know, and they're okay with paying a low quality entertainment, you know, they're okay with that. But you know, they'll every now and then they'll get good quality, but they're it's okay to gamble. They're okay with gambling with our craft, and that's been an issue since I have been since COVID, since everything has lifted and I started DJing again. That's been a heavy issue with these promoters and people hiring me. They're trying to you know, hire me to DJ for 3 hours, bring my speakers, and bring a fire performer, and only charge me like $300.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to come at me better than that with all that I gotta do. That's
Yeah,
your energy.
like
That's a lot of
like
work.
what are y'all talking about? Like, you know, just because we paused for, you know, for this break, we all took a break. We literally everyone took a break. You know, I did do a lot of work consistently before then, and that you know, just because you know you know that was the other thing. A DJ told me, she wrote something. She was like, you know, we all went through this together, so I feel really disrespected that, you know, you are asking me to do this free. No and everyone literally understands what we went through. You know, we all went through a downfall when it comes to finances. So for you to even ask me, you know, for a discount or a lower rate than I normally charge, you know, that's you asking for a lot right now.
Right, right, right. And from like an event coordinator standpoint, me doing events, especially like, you know, as the year has gone through, my events have gotten bigger. It's very expensive to throw an event. It's very expensive, from the venue to the decorations, because I'm a decor person. I'm not just gonna have y'all in a hole in the wall and say, all right, y'all can blow some weed so it's cool. Like, nah, bro. I need decorations, I need dinner, I need a DJ, I need all these things, and all that stuff adds up. And then you have people who see all this work you put in and have the nerve to want to come and show up for free.
Right.
So for me, it's like I be in the middleman for that. Like, no, I put in a lot of work for us to be able to come sit down and have a good time. The least y'all could do is help me break even. I don't even need to make a profit. I just want to break even and feel like I didn't take a total L.
Like, I just want to pay my people that I hired to come and do this for. Let me do that.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah, let me
good.
pay them at least. You know,
Yeah.
so I can get through this, and then I know for next time to don't be so extra, Nika, because these people don't appreciate it. Next time, just do something extra for myself. And
Right.
but like that, coming back to that, because we all in the same financial situation, a lot of it to do with housing, a lot of it doing with housing and paying
Yes.
these landlords and these utility bills and all this stuff that we're paying for is putting us in a weird situation. And I think if anything were to have an electromagnetic hold on our energy, it would be the stress and the anxiety that comes every month when it's getting close to the date where the bill is due. And for some of us who have chosen to take the path to stay unemployed and work for ourselves and stuff like that, that does something to us. And that's where the taking advantage of other people comes into play, or the, oh, I need to hurry up and have an event this weekend because the rent is due, and I know if I sell $30 tickets, I'm gonna get the rent and I'm gonna pay. It's That's the mindset that these people have, but is it really 100% like on them? Or I feel like it's more so the responsibility of the village to be like, yo, I'm tired of y'all treating each other like this, and I understand why now. So now it's time to problem solve
Mm.
because this isn't okay. This isn't okay. The anxiety and the stress and how we treat each other. It's to the point now where like people are getting into fights. Like I've seen vendors outside fighting. I've seen homeless people outside fighting because you were asking for money on my block, on my light. Like that's how bad it is. Like we have to look past this currency and this capitalism because if we don't, it's going to be our demise. And I know a lot of us like to go back to those comfortable parts of history that resonate with what we already have. Like Moors is easy to go back to because we already see the capitalism and the caste system and the kings and the queens and all the things that we want to see in today. We already see there, so we don't want to go back further than that. But if you go back further than that, we were tribal and we were nomads, and people didn't fucking like us because we were tribal and nomads, and we were seen as always in the way. But we did whatever the fuck we wanted to do. We ran by the sun and lived by the moon, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to go back to that because that's when we were our most spiritual, and that's why during that time we were most despised by those who were of lower vibrations. If you don't realize right now, we get along with everybody. We're not supposed to get along with everybody. Why are we getting along with all these low vibrational beings? Because we brought ourselves to their level. We're not supposed to be there. And
Yeah.
a lot of that has to come from us shaking certain mentalities and aspiring to have the shit that they have when we have better. If I can grow food, that's more valuable than money. I would rather y'all come to my event. If you've been at my event because I own this land and I own everything on it, y'all can come stay the night here. Y'all can come eat this food over here that I made. Y'all can, y'all got a place to be. I teach. You need me to teach your
You
son's math? I'll teach your son's math Monday through Friday. I'll be the math teacher. Shit like that. That needs to
know,
start happening.
I want to piggyback on that because there has been some experiences that I've had with people that look like us, where I had a great amount of money and I was willing to put money towards his business, and put money towards his serve safe and like try to help him out, and he didn't take my help because he ended up taking a Caucasian more assistance of him because of the codependency of what he already knows, what he thinks he
Mm-hmm.
already knows of what they try, what they fake, what they help for him, how they help him. So it's like, how are we going to get our people to get out of the mindset of codependency of the system before we start telling them, hey, we got all this stuff here, we got all this beautiful stuff here, and it's profit, it's free, and it's organic, and it's healthy for you. When these minds when we've been living in their world for decades. This world is toppling, but the problem is, how are we going to get our people to adapt to the new world? And this new world has never happened in decades. And there's no guidelines. They burnt all the books. They burnt all the information. All the information is in their mind, passed down through generations through this bloodline, these white people and shit. So like in whatever bloodline the system has. So like that's really like where we should be at right now is game planning on how we're gonna like be able to help access people's mind, body, and spirit, so they can be aware of these things. You know.
Ouch. That's a good question. For that, I just, once upon a time I had the Superman complex where I felt like whatever I did, it had to affect the whole world because all of our people need help. Everybody, not just us in America, but us also in the Caribbean and us in Africa and, us over in Cali or Kansas or Alabama. Everybody need help. However, I had a realization that I can't save the world and I can't save everybody in it. And some of us don't want to be saved.
Yeah.
And
Ain't that
also,
true?
joining the More Science Temple, I've learned that everybody has God in them. Everybody has a journey, and everybody has that path that they have to take. And for me, maybe this time around, the sun, this is my path to be a leader, a teacher, communicator, whatever. And maybe what I have to offer, some people may not be ready to accept this path around the sun. Maybe they have to come back a couple more times before they can accept what I'm saying or accept what's going on or whatever. And I have to learn to be okay with it. I also have to learn to be okay with the fact that not everybody want to do what I want to do. Not everybody is on my wave, and not everybody's supposed to be in my tribe.
Right.
Going back to how we've always been tribal beings. And, just because we both may be Moors, or maybe because we both are spiritual healers, don't mean that, we will be in the same tribe. It doesn't always work that way. It might be like that one or two differences that we had that's not necessarily a deal breaker on the level of respect, but just like a deal breaker well enough to not be in the same living space on a regular basis, to not govern the same tribe together as a unit. And we have to learn how to be okay with that. Stop! Don't bite me. And we have to learn how to be okay with that. We have to learn to accept that, when you put your art out there, you're going to attract the people that you're supposed to attract and the ones that's supposed to ride and vibe with you. And it's okay if it's not the whole world, or if it's only 12 people as opposed to 10. Jesus had 12 people. Jesus only had 12 people that follow him everywhere. And it's been centuries since that man was killed in the middle of the street, and we still talk about him. So, and all he needed was 12. All he had was 12. And not
He's
even, he
just
had 11
like us.
because one of them wasn't shit.
He's nowhere no different than us. He's a hybrid just like us. He ain't
Right.
no different.
He was a teacher just like us trying to find his tribe. He
He just had
didn't
some
work for the
good
government.
promoters.
He didn't work for money. He didn't do none of that.
He had some good promoters, man.
Yeah.
Promoting his experience.
He had the best hype man. He had the best hype man in the tribe.
For real.
You read two different Bibles, two different books of the Bible, how that man went out, and you see two totally different stories. One of them is a Michael Bay version. But it's, I always use him as an example because he wasn't trying to save the world. He was in one area, and, he had his space where he would go to the Mesopotamia, and he actually was there for a few years with other healers. But after a while, they all went to their separate areas where they needed to be and did their healing. And he understood that area where he was at was the area he was supposed to heal. And it's okay that it didn't touch the whole world when it did. But eventually it did, didn't it?
Yeah. He was just a master magician. That's all he was, man. He understood the earth. He understood the rules and how to bend them in this earthly realm, and that's it, man. That's it. We're way far from that, but we're getting back. We're coming back. We're coming back.
We're way off far from that. We definitely need to at least get back to that before we can start claiming anything higher than.
Yeah.
We have to at least get back to that, because right now we acting like the people at the bottom of the hill when Moses was in the cave, and them people was outside building calves. People out here is still worshiping cows, still worshiping deities. Like, the deities are not here for y'all to worship. I be looking at people with Orishas and Netters in their name, and I'm like, no, that's not what they're here for. They're here for acknowledgement, but they are not here for worshiping. You're pissing the universe and God off, and he's not going to save the conscious community either, because y'all still tying yourself to demonic symbols and stuff. That area of our life when we was heavy into symbolism and all that stuff in Egypt and in West Africa, that was when we started falling. Our manifestation started eating us.
Mm-hmm.
Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with
That, yeah.
Atlantis. Our
That.
manifestation started eating us in Atlantis, but for some reason, those are the errors of our life that we want to utilize as rulers for how we live today, and those aren't good rulers at all. Those are not
Well,
like the worst
they.
ones.
I've had a few people these past few years, not a lot of people, but try to come at me about holding Shango's name, and it's I had to tell them, number one, there's multiple different communities in the diaspora that worship Shango. Number one, number
Mhm.
two, uh, like you said, he is someone to be recognized. That he was here as well as what I'm saying. So a lot of people don't even know who this being is. So I am appreciative that he has accepted me and I've accepted him. But I people people swear, that he is over my head, but I have literally sat him down, waited till he came, and we have conversations that we are working together. He is not you're not a puppet. I'm not a puppet, and you're not running my life. We're, whatever you missed in this lifetime while you were while you were in this machine body, I could help you accomplish. But if it doesn't come, like, I can't help you out. It's a give and take type of thing, like just like how human interaction should be,
Right,
recycling energy.
right. Exactly. We're supposed to be recycling the energy and tapping into energies when it's necessary. Somebody had commented, embodiment is not worship, and it's not. It's
I
not.
see you.
It's some people that have to learn the difference though, because they have. If first of all, they're posting their altars online, so that's where they already messed up at. And then not only are they posting them online, but if you look at their altars, it's a bunch of visuals of orishas and deities, and not one piece of an ancestor. Not one
Hmm.
grandmother, great grandmother, great, none of them. They don't even know who they are, what their original last name is, or nothing. But they can celebrate an Orisha, and no, it doesn't work that way. You're not tapping into that energy. You could very well be getting possessed, honestly, because you need your ancestors to create that barrier because they know better.
Yes. By the way, if any Orisha comes to you first, it's usually your ancestors comes first, and then Orishas come second,
Hmm.
because your Orishas accept them before they even allow themselves to be around you and your energy.
Right.
It's just
That's
if
why you have to treat
anybody
your
had any
ancestors.
questions about that.
Yep.
You know, I want to talk to you about some stuff. I think you would be a great person to be in addition to the this workshop I was going to put together, myths and truths about spiritual journeys, tarot reading, healing work. I feel like it needs to be more exposed, and more needs to be told about the shadow stuff that we go through, and more
Mhm.
understanding of, like, these tarot readings that are on YouTube. You're not supposed to be watching them every single day. There are people literally watching these tarot readings on YouTube every single day. That is, like, there should, how they have in the beginning of movies or something, or video games, they'll be like, this might be this might create seizures, or there
Yeah.
should be a warning before tarot readings to state that this is only for confirmation for you to continue your life through the month. Then if you need to come back within those 3 weeks to a month, then come back. There should be a warning, because that's their I'm going on a rant right now. I'm just so,
Mhm.
I feel
You
like
need
that
it.
this should be well talked about. This should be talked about a lot, because people are blindly going into this spirit, this holistic community, not knowing really what they're doing,
Hmm.
or how to protect themselves against certain things. So, and
And
these people that they're.
giving tarot readings like that. You should not be giving tarot readings like that either, because that is a heavy energetic download and you are taking on a lot of energies. Like, I would never do a live tarot reading, because not only am I taking on the energies of the reading, I'm taking the energy on of all the people that's watching, the people that's not watching but have been on these airwaves, because the
Mhm.
internet is a lot like sex. in terms of energetic exchanges. Like, you know, when you have sex with someone, you're having sex with the people that they've had sex with. That's the same thing with when you're on the internet. It's like, it's people that aren't even present on the live, but the fact that you're still in this web, you know, there's still a degree of relation there, and there's still like an energy being absorbed. Like these people that's, you know, coming into the talk with us, they probably came out from an energetic exchange with someone else, and so on and so on and so forth. And I'm absorbing whatever energetic exchange they bring here in conjunction with whatever else they had going on. So, like, I be telling these tarot readers, stop taking on all these people energy. Stop telling people you're going to give $11 readings to people and you just taking anybody and everything, because you're giving readings to people that you're taking on their energy, and you're not giving yourself a chance to bathe, to rest, to cleanse yourself, cleanse your energies or nothing. And you're just automatically moving on to the next person and the next person and the next person. So you're not even giving people clear readings anymore. Like, you're just saying things at this point.
Yeah.
There's some things that people just need to be aware. It's a lot of things I noticed, but I've also realized that a lot of people that are in the spiritual community is like a whole generation of babies that woke up like 2 years ago. And I've been doing this for like a good like 10 plus years. So, you know,
I think I'm at 8. I think I'm at number 8 right now.
You what?
I think I'm at number 8 right now. I started not remembering dates and months, you know. Luckily I have a
I
calendar.
forget. I have to do the math, because what catapulted my journey was my son getting sick, and that's when he was 2. He was like 1, 2, and he's 15 now. So around that time,
Oh my gosh, you're 15?
I have a 15-year-old.
I have 13-year-olds.
Yeah. So like, you know, it's
Yes.
just like I kind of do a lot of my timelines based upon, okay, they were that age when it happened. Okay, so
Wow. Yes. Wow. I love this conversation. We definitely should link up and have a meeting, have a sit down,
absolutely.
and build on some stuff. So, but I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me on your live. I appreciate you. And yes, I'll see you soon. All right, I gotta go.
All right, yeah, I'm about to head out too. I gotta move on with my life.
All
Well,
right.
I love y'all. Y'all take care, and we definitely will be building. You can message me when you're free.
All right, sis. Peace.
All right,
Peace.
peace, y'all.